Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Today we're going to talk about a myriad of topics, Brett. And let's just, get to the first one, which really isn't a topic. We just both got done watching Barcelona versus Madrid, and I don't really have much to add about the game, because the free kicks were free kicks, and the only question, on the first foul on Barcelona, you have to wonder what the hell Aviol was thinking, not only tackling David Villa, but then getting a red card in the box. Sometimes it's just better to play, give up the goal and play with 11 players. The other thing, Brett, what's up with all those lasers from the crowds, hitting the faces of the players and hitting Messi while he's trying to take a free kick? I hope this isn't a new trend, and hopefully we don't see this in MLS. And as Ray Hudson put it, what a bunch of morons.
I think it's funny because he got, obviously got the red card because of the takedown. I mean, it was a pretty obvious takedown, and there shouldn't have been any surprise. Mm-hmm. Although, of course, as a player, you're going to act surprised, like, "Oh, I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. He fell over on his own accord. He got punched in the face. It's not my fault."
Right.
But he actually I believe he got away with a handball just prior to that.
Yeah.
It hit his hand. His arm was out. His arm was stretched out. It hit his arm, went to the player, and then he tackled him down.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have to agree with you. At some point, it's just downright smarter to let him take a shot on goal. Who knows? The keeper might come up huge. But fact is that he took him down. He got sent off, and they put it away. Now they were playing down a man. So
yeah. And the way, David Villa has been shooting lately, at least in this game, why not let him shoot? I mean, he missed some really great opportunities, great pass for Messi later in the game. He just, he's, as Ray Hudson said, and, Ray Hudson can drive me nuts sometimes, but he's right. Why didn't Messi just hit that? I mean, why didn't David Villa just hit that pass with his shoelaces instead of trying to kind of passively guide it? He ended up kicking it to the keeper.
Got to make it look nice.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But as far as the lasers go, I pray that this does not catch on. I mean, I know they've been around. Occasionally will pop up. Usually you don't have it in that sense. But, man, that one that was on Messi when he was about to take the PK was a big laser.
Yeah.
I mean, when that shined down on him, I was like, whoa.
Big, bright
usually
green.
It's a little tiny, little pinpoint type laser. That thing was about the size of a quarter, it looked like.
I know. I mean,
I was like, oh, God.
And the first time that ends up screwing up somebody taking a free kick, my question is, are the refs going to, A, take note of it and let them kick it again? And B, when are the people in the crowds who notice these idiots using these lasers going to stand up and say, hey, you know what? You do that again and we're going to beat you to a bloody pulp.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking because, first off, as far as the refs go, unless they're sitting there watching the kicker the entire time, there's no way that they're going to catch a laser possibly shooting him in the eye with it,
Yeah.
As far as the crowd goes, I thought after the first initial laser or two, it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is either they thought they would be able to catch him off real quick, or somebody in the crowd said, hey, quit being a douchebag.
Yeah. But if I was the laser guy, i.e. I was the moron in the stands, I don't think I would be zapping that at Messi's eyes as he's ready to take the kick, because Messi's eyes are focused on the ball, right, on the free kick. So put the laser on the ball and wiggle it around. That'll really screw
him up, yeah.
But anyhow.
Well, let's not give him any ideas.
You're right. We'll skip that. No ideas for the morons.
I think we have a huge Spanish following.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Huge Spanish following. In fact, we're number one in Barcelona, I hear. Number one vidcast in Barcelona. We are the only vidcast in Barcelona. Anyhow, let's talk a little about what's wrong with the New York Red Bulls. They can't seem to score. Henry is injured again. De Rosario was brought in to be an improvement, but I'm not thinking that the Red Bulls are used to playing this sort of 4-3-1-2 with De Rosario in this tucked-in CAM role. They look incredibly unnatural doing so, and while they dominated, the last game they played, quite frankly, they just look a little uncomfortable, and they can't seem to figure out a way to score a goal. That's the problem.
Yeah. You got to take into effect that that Agudalo's playing well. He's putting forth some decent performances where against the Union alone, I think he hit the post and the crossbar.
Got to finish with some of those though, Brett.
He does. Exactly. That's the key thing for strikers. You have to finish. There are other aspects of the game for a striker, but on those opportunities when you have a chance on goal, you've got to put that away.
Yep.
Not saying that he did anything wrong. It's just either a miss hit or a deflection that just happened to hit the post, but.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling he'll obviously not even say rebound, but he'll certainly put a good number of goals up this season. He's playing well. He's playing with confidence. Whether or not Henry steps up, I know a lot of the Red Bull fans are kind of fed up already.
Yeah.
You had Beckham in L.A. who had several seasons before LA fans were like, hey, what the hell? Is he even playing for our team?
Right.
Not saying that Henry's not playing or trying to play, but he's not performing. He's re-injured himself apparently.
Right.
At some point, you've got to ask. Yes, it's nice to have this age star who's done well in the highest levels, but at what point is paying somebody $5 million just too much?
And Hans Backe did come to Henry's defense in some ways by saying we need to get the ball to him in better spots.
True.
And, true, if you do watch, you've watched a couple of the games that New York's played this year, you have to say that Henry either isn't making himself available by getting into open space or his teammates simply aren't finding him. Now, you're hoping that De Rosario in that CAM spot playing right behind Henry and Agudelo would be somewhat helpful to Henry in helping him find that open space. But as a lot of people have mentioned in the past, whether they be Houston fans or Toronto fans, maybe De Rosario can get a little greedy sometimes and take shots. In fact, he'll take a lot of shots during the game. You mentioned that.
Yeah, I remember reading when Dayro went to Toronto. You'd think that this was going to be a massive blow to Houston. When you thought of Houston, you really thought of Dayro putting forth some magnificent plays and scoring and doing his normal celebration.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of Houston fans that I remember reading posts from on several blogs and forums were saying, you know what, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. He would take, out of 6 shots, he might put 1 on goal, and the rest of the 5 were up in Triple J, or it's just he wasn't putting on for smart plays and stuff like that.
Right.
So we saw him go to Toronto. He did well to some extent. He scored some goals. He kept them moving, but even there, it just seemed like it wasn't necessarily gelling. Although you can also say, Toronto wasn't necessarily the best put together team. They weren't the best team overall.
Right. Well, come on now. You think about Toronto. They did bring in a lot of guys. They brought in Mista, supposedly the storied former Real Madrid star. They did bring in some players in Toronto.
No, I'm talking about the year before and everything, not necessarily this year or anything that. This year it seems different. They were so quick to, New York wants them. We're gonna get Johnny. We're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
Who else did they get besides Johnny?
Not much.
Yeah, but you know what? Mm-hmm. They were so willing to just go ahead and drop him from the payroll.
God, yeah.
He's it seemed almost as if he was like a cancer in the.
Get him out of the locker room. Exactly.
Exactly. It was just they were like, go ahead and take him.
Yeah, please take him.
We don't need him. We're right. We're not really performing with them.
Well, they performed better so far without him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's at New York, and the little I've seen him play there, it seems it's the same story again. He might have a moment of brilliance here and there, but there is just followed with a bunch of other plays where it doesn't seem all that impressive.
Yeah, listen, the guy's Canadian, and nothing against Canadians, but it seems to me if you're Canadian and you're a good soccer player and maybe a little above average a good soccer player, De Rosario has certainly been one of the better players in MLS. Perhaps you shouldn't have an attitude. It's just an idea I had. maybe De Rosario's attitude has been his problem or his biggest issue, and why teams don't necessarily feel they need to hang on to him, especially if you're TFC. You start off the season, you're looking like, wow, we have 16 guys on the roster at the beginning of the season, barely. It looks like we're in for a rough ride. We have a new manager who doesn't know MLS very well. It would seem like you'd want to hold on to your veterans, but maybe that points out something that you said. People just don't. TFC, they just wanted to get rid of this guy. He was a cancer in the locker room, and he was a cancer on the field in some ways too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and TFC is better off without De Rosario. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to say that right here.
They're seem to be playing better. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to play better this year because they'll play as a team. And they're not going to have to listen to De Rosario's whining and moaning about not being paid enough and et cetera. So that should help them.